Hi guys, that was the newest member of our family, Badger the Border Collie. I'm carrying one of my favorite rifles here. You can see what it is. It's very simple. It's a pretty standard rifle. This happens to be a Remington Model 700, a famous gun, and it's in 22-250. 22-250, which is essentially a 22. You see that the end there, I don't know if you can zoom in there, but the end, the barrel, the bore, if you like, is 22 caliber roughly. But you also notice it's very, very heavy. Yeah, this is a heavy barrel. This is designed specifically for long-range shooting. Kind of like a sniper rifle, I guess you would call it. Sniper rifle for prairie dogs. Anyway, this is one of my favorite rifles. So why do I have it out here? Well, first of all, I was shooting some coyotes with it. And secondly, I had to make a repair on it. And I was really irritated. I was sitting on my portable shooting stand, which I built just recently. I got up to leave the shooting stand. I'm not sure why, but I got up to leave. And as I got up to leave, the gun rolled off of the sandbags. Rolled off the sandbag. Now, I panicked. I keep my guns in pristine condition. Some of them are 50, 60, 70 years old, and they're all like new. This is a good example. I don't know the age of this gun. I would guess this was made in the 50s or 60s, maybe the 70s. Anyways, it's like new. And it rolled off the stand, hit the shooting stand, and headed towards the patio, which is made of patio stone. I panicked. I grabbed for it and got it by the barrel here and grabbed it. So it didn't clatter down the barrel and the scope and everything, but it did bump the bottom corner. And that's what irritated me. I'm going to take a close-up picture, but you can see it landed on the bottom corner, and there was some damage right down here to the plastic butt plate. The white line spacer was not damaged, but the wood was damaged. I'm going to take a close-up of that in just a minute for you. So all I have to do, I mean, it's irritating to have to make a repair. Fortunately, it's not that difficult. I got taken out to 2 screws, the standard Phillips screwdriver, and the butt plate comes off. It's plastic. This is a Remington, a genuine Remington butt plate, curved. They're specific. Some are flat, some are curved. This is curved with cross-hatching in there. It's plastic, so it's just molded, and you can see the bottom edge there is a nasty little crack out of there. And I could probably repair that. You can get epoxy and actually build that back up and sand and everything else, but I figured, what the heck, they can't be too expensive. Anyway, so I'll tell you about that in a minute. And then, of course, underneath that is a white line spacer, it's called. These used to be years and years ago made of ivory. Now they're plastic. The white line spacer, it just simply means that this particular rifle is a deluxe. And that's just a little piece of plastic in there for which you pay an extra $200 for the rifle. It's usually here, it's usually at the grip, and it's usually on the forend as well. Anyway, so this gives me an opportunity as well to very carefully sand this, which will make it white again. Over several years of oiling and so on, it's gotten kind of dull. That comes out of there, and now you can see the butt itself. Now I'm going to take a close-up picture of these 3 parts. You can see exactly where the damage is. So now what do? Well, I can't actually replace the wood. That would be virtually impossible. Stock for a gun like this would be $500 or $600. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to repair this little chip. And to do that, although I'm pretty good with wood products, I went online and I found this kit. It's called a furniture repair kit, and it has, and maybe you can take a look over here, Diane. I'm going to take a close-up in a minute. It has, I don't know how many, there's 20 different tubes, and they're all different. So there's black walnut, red walnut, pale walnut, Iceland red, golden fir, all the way yellow oak, maple, warm white, and ivory. So it has all these little tubes, and it's wood putty is basically what it is. And so it becomes very hard. So what you do is you take a little bit of this, and you put it in the gap, and you build it up a little wee bit, let it dry. 2 or 3 layers is always better. Let it dry. And then once you get it built up above the original surface, then you take sandpaper, all of which there's little scrapers in the kit, little brushes, all kinds of little brushes, and then you take some sandpaper. Now, I did notice that this sandpaper is not fine. Well, there's 600. That's pretty good. This is Oh, about 600. 600 is pretty fine, but I'll do a bit of 600 and then maybe go to 1200 or even 2000 so I can get that smooth, perfectly smooth finish on there and repair the wood completely. I do have a new butt plate arriving. It took me a long time to find. Apparently this specific butt plate, cross-hatching with the Remington on there, is not easy to find. It took me a long time. Very few, if any, gun parts suppliers had them. And so I did find one eventually on eBay from a fellow, not too expensive, that had it shipped to me, which cost 2 times the part, and it looks just like this, nice and clean and so on, and that'll replace that. Put it all back together, and the rifle will once again be like new, and I can put this little nightmare out of my mind. I don't know what all you guys are like, but I'm very fussy. I had to keep my guns in pristine condition, and it was pretty upsetting for me when this happened. But I'll have it back looking just like new pretty soon. Okay, so guys, here I'm back now. I'm back in the garage, the shooting bench. The stock I've almost completely repaired to like new. I just have to put a little bit of varnish on it now to so that this tiny repair virtually disappears into the gloss. But right now, I'm facing another small issue, and that is replacing the cracked butt plate. And this is the cracked butt plate and the original white line spacer. The white line spacer, let's deal with that first, was no longer white line. Over the years of use and care and cleaning and waxing, the edge, the white line edge, which is of course the only part you see when it's on the rifle, was no longer white, it was yellowish, and I didn't really want a yellow line spacer. So what I've done is very carefully sanded that edge, so now it's white all the way around. When it goes back on to the plate with the new base plate, it'll be a nice white line around there, as it ought to be. So that's pretty straightforward. However, now the next issue is the fact that I have finally, took me a while, found an identical butt plate. This is a plastic, original plastic, with Remington on it, right size and shape, curved. Some of these are flat. This particular one is curved, and it has the very nice, actually, checkering in it. If I didn't know any better, if I didn't know it was a molded piece of plastic, I would think it was cut. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to have the new, if you like, butt plate to be identical to the original. This is the original with the broken edge. Now here's the issue now. When you get your butt plate, and this is the case generally speaking, in my experience anyway, when you buy a butt plate, it's a general butt plate. It fits a series of rifles, and so they have a butt plate that fits the stock for those rifles. It is not specifically made for this make, model, caliber, serial number, so you just can't put it on. While the original butt plate fits on there perfectly, it's exactly the right shape and size, this one is not. When I put this on, it sticks up a good ½ inch at the top, and it's not exactly the perfect shape and size for the stock. It's very close, actually, but this ½ inch at the top, this portion here, has to be removed and made to fit. Now, a gunsmith will do that. He'll just get a generic butt plate and fit it, mark it, and then grind it, sand it, whatever he has to do to make it fit. So that's what I'm doing now. Now, I don't want to sand it while it's on the stock. That would be counterproductive, because the sanding would almost invariably cause damage to the stock, and we're back to square one trying to repair the stock. So now I have to make this so it's a perfect fit for the stock. The way to do that is to, my opinion anyway, what I'm doing is to take the white line spacer, which is a perfect fit, and I use the white line spacer like this, fit it to the butt plate like so, and here you can see the difficulty. Well, this portion seems to be almost perfect, very close to perfect. You can see here that there is a substantial amount of this replacement butt plate that is too big. That portion there, sticking beyond the white line spacer, has to be removed. Now, I'm going to use the sander for that. I have a one-way banded sander you'll see in a minute. I'm going to use a sander to take that off. It's plastic, so it'll sand off quite easily. Carefully, and I'll show you that in a second. And I'm going to use the butt plate, the white line spacer, as a guide, as a template, so I can take it down to exactly the right shape and size. However, I don't want to use the actual white line spacer because it's a little bit valuable and hard to replace. I don't want to use that because it'll get damaged. So I simply made a template out of cardboard, out of stiff cardboard, like this, of that white line spacer. And now I can put that template, I've marked the holes, I can put that template onto my replacement butt plate, and I can use this now. You see how it sticks out at the top there? That's what I have to remove with the sander. And that'll all fit back on. And we can go shooting again. So I want to get it right back to its pre-injury state. Okay, we're going to go to the sander now, and I'll show you how I hope to be able to do this. Okay, so here I am with my cheap little Delta belt and disc sander. And I mean cheap, but these little sanders, table sanders, are $100, maybe a bit more, but they're actually pretty good. Now, no, they're not fantastic finishing sanders, but they do a pretty good job. Now, on the belt, I've got a fairly coarse belt grit, and that'll help me to get the plastic down to close to the size. And then on the disc, I have a quite fine, which I'll use to smooth it off. And anyway, let's get started. Let's do some of this. Now, what I've done is I don't make a mistake. I don't want to make a mistake. You have no idea. I won't bother telling you the aggravation I went through to get this darn butt plate here. So what I did is I took my template, which is a direct copy in size from the white line spacer that was on the gun, and I put the template in the right spot. I've marked the holes in exactly where it belongs so I can get exactly the right size on my new butt plate, and I put a pencil line around there to give me a rough guide. So I have to bring this black plastic down to that pencil line. I'll do that right now. Got this sanded down so it is exactly the right size and shape of the original. No longer sticks above the top. You can see it there. So now I've got a fairly rough edge here, so I'm going to do two things. First thing I'm going to do is with relatively fine sandpaper, I'm going to just smooth off that edge. The sander, of course, the power sander leaves a sharp edge. I don't really want a sharp edge on my butt plate. Shouldn't be there. I'm going to just take that off very, very slightly, round off that edge a little bit so it's comfortable and doesn't have any sharp edges. Now, the only thing now, it's a little bit of an issue, is that in doing all of this with the sander and the sandpaper, I have removed the glossy finish. So now what I need to do, that's pretty nice. Now what I need to do is go to my other, one of my other favorite tools is my polisher. And with some polish and some grit, I can now, if you come in here closer, maybe, you can see I've got exactly the right shape, but you can also see that the gloss has now been removed. I want to get that gloss back. Okay, all done my sanding and polishing, and my new replacement, that is butt plate, looks beautiful. I was able to polish the top up. It's nice and shiny. Let me just put some light on it here so Diana can get a better picture. And the bottom now is exactly the right shape and size, and it's been polished as well. Look at that. You see that? Then that's the top that was pretty badly scratched. And there's the bottom that I had just finished power sanding and sanding, which of course had lost all of its gloss. It's back to perfect. It's actually better than the old one that I had on there, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And then now it's just a simple matter of reinstalling it. So the white spacer goes on first. There is no left or right. And then the new replacement butt plate goes in like so. And I have not new screws, it's the original screws, but they have been polished and cleaned and painted as well. And you simply then screw that back in like so. And some guns like to use a bit of glue or sticky stuff in there to keep these from coming out. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of that. This is not subject to a lot of vibration. It's not like a machine part. And there you go.
right back almost like the day it was made. You see the nice white line in there now, not yellow anymore, nice and white, and the nice shiny black spacer, and no one will know that some idiot dropped his rifle and onto a cement floor and damaged the stock a little wee bit. Anyway, there you go, guys. Just hopefully that wasn't too long on replacing the butt plate, putting a new butt plate onto a nice old rifle and making it fit and look good and everything else. I think we've done that. There you go. Hope there was something in there in that whole thing that it might be a benefit to you. Talk soon. I'm going shooting. Bye-bye. Alec Peirce at the ranch saying goodbye.